Wholesale Hotline, where we cover everything to do with wholesale real estate. I'm Jamil Damji.
I'm Brent Daniels.
And I am Morby.
And together we cover the most important parts of wholesale real estate.
Lead generation.
Conversion of sellers into contracts.
And dispositions. Guys, remember when you're watching this show, do us a favor and squad up in the comments.
Make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the YouTube channels and in the Facebook group Wholesale Hotline.
Most important, we want to know we're doing a great job for you and helping you build your business. So go give us a review on iTunes and or Spotify.
So squad up and enjoy the show.
Welcome to Wholesale Hotline number 199. That is 17,910 minutes of Wholesale Hotline after the show is done. What do you think about that, Jamil?
I mean, honestly, I'm not shocked.
Yes.
I'm not shocked that we had the consistency to continue doing this. What is shocking to me is that that this show continues to bring in new people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, every week I get DMs from folks saying, "Hey, I just saw you for the first time on Wholesale Hotline. What an incredible podcast! Thank you guys for sharing that information. Super life changing."
Yep.
And to me, that's very rewarding,
Mm-hmm.
right? In that, I love that we have an existing audience that's been with us for almost 2 years here. But in addition to that, right? In addition to, is it 2 years or more?
It's going to be 4 years, bro.
Oh, fuck, what the fuck? Okay, so 4 years.
Listen, it's 199 weeks, 52 weeks in the year. Almost 4 years.
You think about that, right? So almost
2019 we started.
4 years, right?
Yep.
And 4 years, and in those 4 years, you guys have seen me drop almost 80 pounds. And you've seen all of that weight find its way to Brent Daniels'
right
arms.
Here. It's right here.
And also all that weight transfer over to Morby's deal count.
That's
and
right.
So, it's exciting, man. I'm grateful to be standing with my brothers here.
Yeah.
A couple of giants in the industry, and super grateful for the audience to continue to tune in week after week. I wore a suit for you guys today because you're special.
Well, and also tomorrow is a special day. Tomorrow is Jamil's birthday. Hey-o, give it up. We got some clapping here, guys. Put some love in the chat for Jamil's birthday. What are you going to do for your birthday? Deals.
Yeah, I'll do some deals, I'm sure. In addition to that, my family is planning something special for me.
Awesome.
I got a friend coming into town from Los Angeles to come and hang out. I'm going to keep it a little bit subdued, but
sure.
I'm 45 years old, man. That's like the halfway point of life.
Right?
Yeah. If I make it to 90, that means I hit half point. And that's a sobering reality. Yeah.
Right? Well, people think that like midlife is like 50s, it's right in the 40s, right in the sweet spot. That's great. Happy birthday.
Thank you, dude.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
So let me ask you this. So if you were to look at Keegley, which if you're not familiar, Keegley is Jamil's wholesaling business. And that's what we're talking about here is wholesaling real estate on Wholesale Hotline. On a daily basis, how many deals are closing in your corporate store?
I mean, we're still averaging anywhere between 50 and 70 transactions on a month-to-month basis.
So work days, 2 to 3 a day?
Yeah, that's pretty average.
So 2 to 3 deals are going to close tomorrow?
Yeah.
Maybe more?
Yeah.
While you're celebrating your birthday?
Correct.
Because you built a company?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yeah.
And now, what is your responsibility in Keegley?
Well, I mean, I'm still the brand face of Keegley. And so I continue to do my job to deliver content to the masses on what and how they can leverage Keegley as a resource for their wholesale business.
Yep.
In addition to that, I'm always looking for new ways for us to get out there and do more business and generate more revenue. In addition to that, looking to continue to support the franchises as they grow and multiply their influence and their reach across the nation as well. So, I've got to put my head down for the next few years. I have a desire to have my franchise locations be as successful as our corporate locations.
Yeah.
Which is, a very big goal, because, at the end of the day, it's one thing for you to be able to make a massive business for yourself and generate revenue and help families that are a part of your corporate store.
Yeah.
But we've been seeing our franchises just murder it. I mean, they're doing so well out there. I want to see them grow to the level of influence and to the level of reach that the corporate stores have as well, right? And so, and they're getting there. We've got so many incredible operators out there. Just they come in with the same level of heart, with the same dedication to service, to the same goal and adding value to wholesalers, to make sure that deals are closing, to make sure that we're connecting with good buyers, to maintain relationships and to maintain the integrity of our brand. And so, again, I just want to send a shout out to all of you that have worked with Keegley in the past, in the present, or may decide to work with us in the future. Thank you guys for your business. Thank you guys for your loyalty. Thank you guys for, the years and years of goodwill that we've been able to have. And I'm just grateful for it. Thank you.
Well, I'm just glad that you're replacing a lot of the bad actors in the business that have some of these franchises that take crazy advantage of new wholesalers.
Right.
And there's a couple of them out there that were bigger wholesale companies, and you guys have really put a dent in the size of those bad actors and really changed up a lot of what's going on when it comes to selling other people's deals.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So I want to make it real clear here, and Pace is going to jump on here whenever he can, unless he's having a baby right now, but he'll jump on here when he can. But my business is I go direct to the property owners. We have conversations. Our biggest marketing channel this year was pay-per-click. I've got Jesse here, Champlain, that is responsible for all those deals. And we are having a heck, if I can say that, a heck of a December.
Amazing.
And absolutely bananas. We should close right around 400,000 this month. 400,000, which is a heavy month. And I would say 300,000 of that is pay-per-click. 300,000, all roads direct. If you're going direct to property owner, all roads lead to pay-per-click eventually. All right. When we're getting started, we're real gritty. We're in our hustle season. We're going after properties. We're either knocking on their doors or we're picking up the phone and we're calling those property owners and we're seeing if they would consider an offer on their property. Remember, when you're going direct to the property owners, 3 steps, right? Number 1 is find properties that have potential. Okay, find properties that have potential. Typically, they're going to be properties that need significant investment to bring them up to the condition of 2023 standards. All right. Number 2 is you have to have a quality conversation with that property owner, which means that you find out 4 things: condition of the property, timeline to sell that property, motivation to sell that property, and price. You find those 4 things out, you're having a really good quality conversation. That is the scaffolding of all of the conversations you have with property owners. And the third one is you make an offer. You make an offer. So just properties with potential, have quality conversations, and make offers. And from there, you're going to find some really great opportunities. And you do your lead follow-up and you start building your business up. You start building some momentum up. You start getting a big, healthy, heavy bank account. And then all of a sudden, you're able to start other marketing channels. You're able to start finding some great talent to bring into your company so that you don't have to do all the roles in it. But in the beginning, you need to put in the work. You need to be in the dirt, talking every single day, building up your skills of communication. And that is how you really start building momentum. So if you're wondering how to get started in this business, it is having a lot of conversations with property if you want to go direct to property owners. Now, if you want to get started using the Astro model, the Astro flipping, Keegley, what do you suggest?
Well, there's no secret on how we've been able to do what we've done. It's a relationship-based business, and so for us, the key to our success has always been establishing and maintaining strong relationships with wholesalers, strong relationships with real estate agents, and that has been a very successful way for us to reduce our marketing expenses to nothing, to be able to generate multiple deals from one.
And by the way, let me say this. Marketing expenses going direct to seller is typically 25%. 25% is really, really solid. If you can get that under that, that's usually you being real proactive. But to have people call you for an opportunity, typically you can expect about 20%, 25%. So you put in $1, you should get $4 back. Make sure that you understand that, because when Jamil's talking about not having that 25%, there's a big difference there. There's a big difference in marketing costs versus building relationships.
100%, right? And, I love how you positioned it earlier, and you said, look, eventually as you guys scale and grow, you will get to a place where you'll start expending money to have the phone ring. It's just a natural progression, right?
Yep.
You gotta start by, first learning the business. And then once you learn the business, systemizing the business for yourself so that it's repeatable and consistent. Beyond that, you want to, start looking at ways that you can start generating more business and have, not only your outbound outreach become something that is very profitable, but your inbound should become something that's profitable. And you've got to be in a place where you've got a budget. You've got to be able to test. You've got to be able to, spend money months where you're not going to get a return, because these things, they're a science, right? When Brent talks about Jesse on his team, Jesse he's like a scientist, right? Like the guy will go in there and he's going to split test and he's going to be looking.
He's doing it right now.
What's working, what's not working. And I know Jesse. Jesse actually, funny enough, he was at Keegley for in the beginning of his wholesale career, and now he's working at the Rhino factory over here.
That's right.
And it's so he's got an intimate knowledge of what the business is, and he understands the processes, and he understands how it works, and so he's just uniquely positioned to be able to do that at such a high level for you, which is great. But I would say exercise caution. Exercise caution when you guys are out there spending money and looking at ways to generate business and generate income for your wholesale businesses, because it's not something that you just do overnight, and it's not for the faint of heart, because you can literally spend $50,000 in a month and get zero return.
Yep.
But you'll learn so many lessons wasting that $50,000 that the next month you spend it again, and now all of a sudden you bring in $200K, and you needed to burn that $50,000 in the first month in order to understand how to make the next $50,000 actually move the needle. And so, it's a process. It's how business works. You're always going to be learning. You're always going to be testing. You're always going to be pivoting. But get yourself to a position where you're as rich as Brent Daniels so that you can spend money testing and figuring out the best ways to generate more opportunities, more leads, and eventually more business and revenue, right? So
the biggest expense is your skills. You need to develop the skills to be able to convert those leads into actual approved agreements.
Correct.
That's the biggest thing. People go, oh, I'm going to just jump into this business and I'm going to spend a bunch of money and it's going to be great. And I'm going to just be closing. Well, if you don't have the closing skills, if you don't have the skills of pre-qualifying, of doing your lead follow-up and your offer presentation, you could burn money, literally burn money. Look at Santa here. Look at
Hi.
There he goes. How are you?
Sorry, I was doing like a 12 days of Christmas thing, and I got a little carried away with my storytelling, and I ended up being late.
You don't tell stories.
I had to tell this story today that was really interesting. So I go to Staples to get my TSA pre-check done. And you walk in and they're like, hey, you're going to wait in line. You might as well like meander through the store. We'll give you this $10 off coupon, right? So I'm sitting there waiting for this husband and wife that are in front of me right before I have to rush back and do my 12 days of Christmas thing. And the wife goes and meanders through the store while the husband's doing his TSA thing. And the wife walks up to the husband. She's like, okay, hey, I'm ready. I'm ready whenever you are. And she's got like a little handful of goods that's probably worth like $40-$50. And he turns around and starts berating her and yelling at her and criticizing her for spending this money.
Wow.
And her thing is like, she's trying to justify, there's so many lessons to learn here. She's trying to justify her spend with a $10 off. He's sitting there criticizing her in front of a store of people he doesn't know, creating a negative energy to people he doesn't know, and a domino effect because of this negative energy. I'm like, man, not only would that woman, if she knew you were going to be this way on your wedding day, she probably wouldn't have walked down the aisle. You're definitely not getting laid tonight. Okay. And you're definitely creating animosity and a wedge in your relationship. And I just watched it over a coupon and basically what it stemmed down to for me was a lack of options, right? Like this husband is sitting there fighting over $40 to his wife, this person she pledged her life to, and he the same back to her, and they're fighting over $40. I'm sure nobody in here wants to live a life like that. Have we all been through it? Hell yeah. There's been times where I'm like, I have a credit card. I know if I swipe this credit card, it's going to bounce, but it'll at least get me through the grocery store. I've been there too. I know what it feels like to be stretched, to be out of money at my wit's end. But the reality is accumulating options, right? Opportunities to make money is what this show is all about. And that guy's sitting there fighting with his wife, exerting energy in a negative manner. I'm just grateful to be here tonight with people that are trying to find new skill sets, new options, new ways to provide money in abundance. So not only can you give your wife everything that you promised her, by the way, but you can overflow your cup in your own family, that you can start giving with gratitude to other people. And so what's the difference between that guy and me is my understanding of real estate, my understanding of collaborating, and my understanding of squatting up with people, and my understanding of everything that we talk about on the show. So just wanted to start off in interrupting your guys' flow by saying, I'm grateful for you guys. I'm grateful that we have the option of real estate to share with other people.
Over 17,000 minutes, Pace, we have put into the Wholesale Hotline podcast and show. 17,000. Isn't that incredible?
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
What's really heartwarming, honestly, is to think about when we were in a little room over here, with our cell phones in hand, and we were using the little lav mics and putting it up to the speaker on the cell phone so that we could, interact with the audience and get questions answered. And, to think about the humble beginnings of where Wholesale Hotline began, and, to think back to the days where Brent was the famous one. And all of a sudden, Pace just explodes into the world, and I'm doing my best to try to follow the two of you,
the Blue Genie.
But truly, like, looking at what has been able to be accomplished with us three. Sorry, it's like one of the greatest and most meaningful things that I do with respect to content and being able to collaborate. And so I truly love you, Brent. I truly love you, Pace. You know that. And for the audience, we flipping adore you guys. Keep doing it, keep working hard, keep bringing it, showing up every single day, and let's go get it.
Love it.
Love it. I love the topic you guys were talking about too. I feel like I kind of got into the industry a little bit different than most people do. I started spending money immediately. And I don't think that there's a right or wrong way to get into real estate. I think that there's a right or wrong way for you as an individual. And for me, if you're a busy entrepreneur and you've got a lot of money coming in, let's say you're me, I was a contractor. I had money. I already had a budget. So I didn't need to pick up the phone and start cold calling and dialing necessarily. I just figured out how to send out postcards and have phone calls come to me. Literally my first 30 days in the business, it was, man, holy crap, 2014-ish, 2014, almost 10 years ago. I get my first dial came in. It was 10 years ago this month. I jumped in the business. 2014 was the first month I got my first lead. So it was this month in 2013, I jumped into the business. 2014, I got my first lead. I spent $5,000 on direct mail in Phoenix, and I got 3 contracts that month, totaling $50,000 in assignment fees in my first 30 days.
Let's go.
And when I made that $50,000, I didn't know what an assignment fee was. Jamil along the way taught me those things. The first year I was in the business, I didn't dispo any of my own deals. I had Jamil or other people dispo. Jamil wholesaled basically my first 100+ deals. I didn't have to worry about finding buyers. I just was like, generate leads, talk to people, generate leads, talk to people, generate leads, talk to people. And that muscle got so strong that today I still have an addiction that I'm fighting off. I'm a recovering TTPer.
Mm-hmm.
All I want to do is talk to sellers, talk to people all day long about their houses, their situation. And it becomes so addicting because you get the emotional high. You get the helper's heroin, the helper's high from helping these people out of their situations. But I made 50 G's that first 30 days. And I didn't have to worry about what contracts to sign or what property I needed to comp. People helped me out along the way because I squatted up with people smarter than me. But when I look back at that $50,000 and I divide it in the amount of work that I put into that month, it was like $5,000 in marketing. So my net on that month was $45,000. I probably put in 40 hours worth of work that whole month, 10 hours a week. I made $1,500+ per hour. No, a little over $1,100 an hour in my first month in this business. And then this is what's so messed up about me. My mindset was so bad that it still took me an additional 4 years to pull myself out of my other business and focus on real estate because I believed in other people's dreams, meaning my construction business, building other people's houses. I believed in them before I believed in my own dream of being a real estate investor. So guys, you're going to struggle with mindset before everything else. You're going to struggle with believing in yourself. You're going to struggle with having the right connections in your life more than you'll struggle with anything else. It took a massive, massive thing to happen to me in 2018. Somebody filed bankruptcy. My largest construction client filed bankruptcy to the tune of $16 million. He filed bankruptcy on $16 million. I lost everything except for one thing.
You think for 2024, we should start saying his name?
I've been saying his name on stage for sure.
Okay.
When I don't think it's going to hit YouTube.
Okay.
But this guy actually created one of the best catalysts in my life. It was the universe coming down and using him as a utensil to say, Pace, get the hell out of construction and focus on real estate. Go get it done. But $16 million, I lost everything except for my ability to TTP. That's a skill that you'll never lose. You can drop me anywhere. Drop me in freaking Kansas in the middle of a cornfield, and I'll freaking TTP my way to making $5,000 that day.
Mm-hmm.
It is the greatest option of making money in the world that I've ever found. I've never found something better than wholesaling real estate, getting into real estate, getting a deal, talking to a person, and assigning that deal to somebody else very cleanly, getting a nice little inspection period on that, and making a clean $15,000. You'll never worry about money ever again. Jamil, Wholesale Genie, and Brent Daniels, TTP. Look at those arms, by the way. Holy shit.
Well, I remember, Pace, I remember very clear the day that I felt rich for like the first time in my adult life. And that was because you had mentioned it before, like going to the checkout at the grocery store and knowing, not even caring what I picked out, not caring about, I always had this like fear that I would put in my code and it would like be declined. Right. It was like this thing because it had happened. It had happened to me before, right? It was like cards got shut off or there just wasn't enough money in the account and everything. The first time I felt like really rich, you know what I mean? You just go to the grocery store, you pick out whatever you want, you throw it on the thing, you don't think anything of it, you don't even know the total, and then you just put your card in and you put in your little debit code and boom, you're out of there. That is what I want for everybody. That's what I want for everybody. Everybody that's struggling, everybody that's young, everybody that's going through some things, everybody that's lost everything, everybody that's gone through bankruptcy, everybody that's looking at every single cent and figuring out the tax that's going to be put on top of your grocery bill, all of those things. You never have to think about that again if you talk to enough people. You don't. You never have to worry about that. And that's just a small one. That's just a small cost. Think about buying cars, cash, houses, cash, expanding businesses, really going after this vision that you have in your head, really testing what is the potential that I have with this life that I have, right? The fact that we're even here is remarkable. The fact that we live in this country and have the ability to wholesale real estate is incredible. So the only thing that's stopping us is just having enough conversations, either people calling us or us calling them. Doesn't matter if you're dispoing deals. Doesn't matter if you're helping people sell their deals or if you're going direct to the property owner. How many people are you going to talk to today? How many people is it going to take? How many people do you have to talk to solve all the financial problems that you have?
Well, let's talk about it. Dan Moreno's got a great question. In fact, he is a retired football quarterback. Dan Moreno, Miami Dolphins. Okay. Wow. Also known in Ace Ventura. Okay. If you guys know Dan Moreno. Can y'all talk about agent outreach? Any advice or tips?
Well, that might be your funniest joke yet. That might be the one.
Okay, so who are the top 3 in the game for direct to agent? I would say Jamil Damji, Keegley, and then Jerry Norton. I would say those are the only 3 people you should listen to when you talk to agent outreach. Jamil Damji basically streamlined this whole entire process. He created a company called Keegley that does it nation freaking wide. And then Jerry Norton does a phenomenal job as well, but that's not his sole focus. So Jamil does nothing but direct to agent outreach for on-market wholesaling. That's all he does. He is the king. He is the genie. So Dan Moreno, I know football made you a lot of money. Wholesale is going to make you a lot more, my guy. Jamil, what do you have to say to our guy, the Miami Dolphin?
Well, first and foremost, your last season was terrible. So I understand why you're looking at wholesale now, but anyways, good run, by the way. Anyhow, when we're talking about agent outreach, right, especially for on market. So I want to delineate the conversation a little bit here because I think there's some confusion. First and foremost, agent outreach and MLS offers, so on market offers, are 2 completely different strategies. Okay, so let's separate this conversation and let's first talk about on market deals. Okay, on market deals are typically going to fall into 2 categories. There's going to be your fresh on market listing, so something listed today or within the last couple of days that has been priced well. Okay, write that down. Priced well. I'm not talking about something that just got listed today that's $100K over what it should be priced at, but something brand new, freshly listed that's priced well. Okay, then there's going to be those properties that are on market that are 30, 60, 90, 120 days on market. 2 different strategies. All right. When we're talking about stuff that's just freshly listed, these are going to be houses that are, again, priced well for their condition, have just hit the MLS, and are going to have a lot of eyeballs on them and a lot of competitiveness to try to get the deal under contract. Now, if you are successful in talking to the listing agent and getting this conversation started, one thing to understand about brand new, freshly listed, well-priced MLS listed properties is that their buyers are a little bit more forgiving if you sell above list price. Okay, so if you lock something up at list price, but it's like you got it first day on market, went pending, and then you try to wholesale that, your buyers will see that. They'll see how many days on market it was. They'll see that you locked it up very quickly, and they'll be more accepting of buying that property from you above what the MLS listed price is, because they're going to understand that you likely had to contract it at list price or maybe even above in order for you to win the contract. So that's one aspect of on-market deals. The second are those deals that have had some time where they're marinating on the market and the days on market are starting to really increase. Now, those are going to be deals that you're going to have way more opportunity to negotiate on. But remember this, the market rejected the list price. So the fact that they're sitting on the market right now, it doesn't mean that that price, that listed price, is a real price. That's a shot in the dark. That's not a true market price because the property didn't sell. So knowing that the market rejected that price, you know that you need to bring to the table a substantial discount from that listed price in order for a buyer to feel like you've done anything or brought any value to the table. So typically, when you're dealing with a property that's MLS listed, that's been on the market for quite some time, you're going to have an opportunity to negotiate with that real estate agent and their seller, because motivation will have increased because they saw that the market rejected their price, and you'll be able to hopefully get that thing locked up at a substantial enough discount to entice a buyer. But know this, your buyers will need to see a large gap between list price and where you sell it at. No buyer is going to be okay with you contracting a house that's been on the market for 60 days and trying to sell it anywhere close to its existing listed price, because remember, the market rejected the price. They know that. They can see that. They can see how long it's been on the market. They can see how many days it's racked up. They can see how many times it went pending and fell out of contract. So it's very important that when you are locking stuff up that's been listed for quite some time, that you have a huge gap between list price and where you contract it and sell it. Next, agent outreach. That's when we are doing cold outreach to real estate agents, finding out and asking them if they have anything coming to market.
Whether they have anything on the market or not, correct?
Correct.
So we don't have to go look at a house that's listed to reach out to an agent, is what you're trying to say.
Correct. We're just cold outreach. We're getting a list of agents. And again, you give out that list. I give out that list in the Astro community. You can also get a very, very specialized list if you're a part of the Astro Blaster community. That list is actually better than any of the lists that we've been able to see. Very highly curated list that we give out. Now, when you're doing agent outreach, the goal is to get pocket listings. Okay, what's a pocket listing? A pocket listing is a house that a real estate agent knows of that's coming to market that hasn't quite hit the MLS yet. So it's in their back pocket. That's why they call it a pocket listing. Now, the goal on these ones, because they're off market, is to lock them up prior to them being listed. So it's really important that you are clear in your communication with the real estate agent to let them know that you want to look at it and potentially contract it prior to them putting it on the MLS. So it requires that nuance in communication for them to understand specifically what you're looking for. Now, the beautiful thing about agent outreach is that when you lock that deal up and you send it out, essentially it's off market, because your buyers aren't going to see a listing on the MLS. They're not even going to know that the real estate agent is involved. It's going to feel as though it's a direct to seller deal. And it pretty much is direct to seller, other than there being a real estate agent involved in helping you get the deal under contract. So when you are working on direct to agent, again, there's two ways to do it: on market, freshly listed, or days on market, and then agent outreach, which is looking for pocket listings. Those two procedures have been, I would say, 70% of the business that we do at Keegley. In addition to that, we also do a lot of wholesaler JV. So it's not just agents that we work with. We also work with a tremendous amount of wholesalers. And then I'd say about 10% of our current business now is actually direct to seller, where we're using highly curated AI-generated direct to seller lists that allow us to really shorten the number of people that we want to contact. Where maybe we're only calling 300 or 400 sellers in an entire month, but we know that those sellers are very, very, very motivated based on some filtration that the AI is doing to make sure that there's an opportunity here for somebody to want to sell. That is the majority of the business that we're doing at Keegley. So it's agent outreach, MLS offers, JVs, and then some direct to seller.
Are you having many conversations with agents about wholesale terms versus wholesale price? You know what I mean?
Of course. Yeah.
Because if somebody wants way more than a cash offer or a cash buyer is willing to give them, then you switch to, the world of Pace Morby, where it's more creative finance. And Pace, can I run something by you and you tell me if I'm crazy or not?
Yeah.
All right. So whenever
it's not going to be the Steve Trang thing, is it?
First I want to just tell you about wholesaling2024.com. No. No. So the baseline that when we're having conversations, or when my callers are having conversations, if they want too much for the property, it's fine, but we want wholesale terms. So we do 5, 10, 50, right? 5% or less down. This is just kind of starting point, but I like staying in this range. 10-year balloon, 50% of current rents for payment. What do you think of that?
I like that. It's really, really close to what we end up being. I would say our average cost to get into a deal for the sub 2 community is a little over 5% because you've got wholesale fee on top of that and you got closing costs on top of that.
Yep.
So you're hitting that 8% number. So I sat down with my CPA today. We bought $150 million in real estate, a lot of it from the sub 2 community that are doing these deals. And my average cost to get into the deal is 8% down, including a wholesale fee, including closing costs. So 5% is amazing. A 10-year balloon is phenomenal because there's never been a time in historical real estate data that a 10-year balloon would not turn out and work out for you. It always comes back within a 10-year time frame and actually better off.
Yep.
Even if you bought in 2006 before the crash and you sold in 2016, you far exceeded what would have ended up happening to you in a crash. So 10-year balloon is phenomenal, and 50% of the payment is amazing for long-term rent. Here's what's challenging with that part. Yep. It's a great place to start, which is what you're also saying.
Yep.
You'll find a lot of times that, I was over at a Christmas party the other night with my family office, the people who manage my money. Jesse Burrell was there. Eva was there. Annie was there. And they all kind of have the same company that manages all of our money. And they've got a lot of people, right? If you guys want to find a buyer that does not care about cash flow, you go to a family office. Mm-hmm. The number one topic at a family office that people that manage money, my money and other, people have some money, the number one thing they talk about all year long is not how to make more money. It's how to save taxes. And so I sit there and the family office, they're all gathered around me at dinner and they go, bro, we don't even care if these deals are losing $100 a month. Sell them to all of our clients. They will buy them and gobble them up and hold on to them. They just want to avoid the taxes. So at the end of the day, if you have really great buyers that are buying for tax reasons, right? You're tapped into family offices. You will be able to pay at full market rents for the payment to the seller in those situations. But again, that's dependent on how good is your buyer's list. So everything you said is so freaking good, Brent, especially as a starting point.
Yeah.
One more thing I wanted to add to that, Pace. In addition to your family office being able to help connect you to people that are looking for depreciation and opportunities to save tax, there's also a real opportunity when you're working with qualified intermediaries who handle 1031 exchanges for their clients. Because again, that's a buyer category that is looking for tax advantage. They're looking for opportunities to save money on their taxes. They're not necessarily looking for the best deal, and they have a very compressed amount of time in which they can make those decisions. So add to what Pace just said, looking at and connecting to people in the family office, but also looking for qualified intermediary companies where you can connect to their customer base who are looking for 1031 exchange opportunities so that they can save on taxes. They're much less sensitive to price because they have another strategy that they're looking for purchasing real estate to help benefit them.
Yeah. And I talk about this all the time with wholesalers. When you're brand new, some of these conversations are going to be a little over your head, and that's okay, right? Just tells you that there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, which means you have a lot of great things you're going to be able to learn in this business. When the more things that go over your head just means there's more options and more information you're going to be able to absorb. So be okay with not understanding what the hell we're talking about right now. But basically,
was that a little bit too much? I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to confuse anyone.
No, I personally, I think that wholesalers can make a lot more money when they have a better buyer pool, as you guys already know. I remember back when the REITs and, Colony and American Home for Rents and, First Key and all these iBuyers were gobbling up properties. I remember people they were wholesaling deals at 110% of ARV.
Yep.
So the answer is not every buyer is looking for a 60 cents or 70 cents on the dollar deal. Right. If you can be the wholesaler that knows what the hell your buyer's doing with the product you're selling them, that is the competitive advantage. In fact, I was thinking about, you guys know about that Elon Musk thing that just went on where he got interviewed by the New York Times and he basically said, F you, blah, blah, blah.
His advertisers. Yeah.
Yeah. Phenomenal interview. It was really great, regardless of your public affiliate or, political affiliation. It was just really good interview if you're trying to learn how to interview people. But that same day, the same guy interviewed the owner of NVIDIA. Okay. NVIDIA is who makes all these chips and these graphic cards for all of our computers. It will be one of the most important companies in the world if it already isn't today. And the interview was Andrew Ross Sorkin saying, hey, NVIDIA CEO, the guy who founded the company 30 years ago, aren't you worried about your competition? He says, no. I wake up every day stressed out about what my buyer needs and what they want. And I realize that that is the best way for me to make my money. I focus on my buyer every single day. And so it hit me, a lot of wholesalers, they just go, I got to get a deal at 70 cents on the dollar. And then they're not really understanding what the heck the buyer's doing with the deal. They assume that the buyer's going to fix and flip. They assume the buyer might, turn into a rental, but you don't know if the buyer's going to turn into assisted living, sober living, pad split, family promise, one of these other 30 exit strategies that are identified that don't really care about the long-term rent rate of Rentometer. And when you focus on that buyer, you can be the person that comes in and pays a little bit more than anybody else because you understand your buyer at the end of the day. A lot of the people I associate with, I'm going to toot my own horn. Today, I got a check. Okay. I got a distribution check. Boom, boom, boom. $7,250. Doesn't seem like a massive amount of money. But I got a distribution from a business I bought on June 10th with Creative Finance. The name of the company is The Plant Guy. I bought that company with Creative Finance. It was losing $200,000 a month. We converted it, fixed all the problems, and today it's making $100,000 a month. That's amazing. And I'm so happy that today I got my first distribution check from that thing.
Congratulations.
It's, bro, like I got a text message from the guy. We came in and solved he's like, you saved my life. I was going to kill myself until you guys came in and fixed all my problems and all that kind of stuff. I just look at how grateful I am to be in this whole entire world of business. And once you obtain these skills, you can really change people's lives. But I hang out with a lot of people that make a lot of money. And I'm grateful for that. And I hear them making millions and millions of dollars on all these other businesses outside of real estate. You know, the number one thing they want, they're like, let me buy real estate. I don't care if it cash flows. I'll save so much money on my taxes that I can buy that property today, let it sit for 2 straight years with no tenants in it and still save money on my taxes. They can literally hemorrhage $2,000, $1,500 every single month for 2 straight years. And the taxes they save will overshadow the money they paid in mortgage payments. When you understand that fact, you can go and gobble up creative finance deals left, right, center. You just have to know the buyer. So, Brent, what you're saying is a really great baseline, because what you're saying is 50% of the rents as the payment to the seller or as the sub-2 deal is a really great baseline to start at. And then if the seller says, no, I've got different offers, or no, I need more money, now it's time for you to reach deeper in your pockets for those buyers that are a little bit more savvy, that are not looking for cash flow. In fact, Brent made a really good point on Instagram the other day. He says, guys, like, cash flow is not going to change your life. It's not. I can tell you right now, I do not live on my cash flow. I reinvest every dollar. It's not that cash flow has gotten significant, but man alive, most savvy investors do not invest in cash flow. They invest in saving money on taxes and holding on to those properties where real wealth comes from. So understand that, and you will outbeat just about every wholesaler on the planet if you understand what your buyer actually does.
How do you communicate with buyers on the scale that Pace is talking about? You know what I mean? How do you get into there? Do people just bring them to you guys, and you guys have those relationships? If somebody wants to build those because
when you say that, what do you mean? Are you asking how do I communicate with the different types of buyers?
The specific buyers that Pace is talking about, where they're not really caring about the cash flow. Yep. They just want it for long-term wealth building and for the depreciation.
Got it. You got to bifurcate your list. Yeah. Okay. So you understand what that means? Yeah. For those of you that don't know what I just said, bifurcate your list means that you're going to be splitting your lists in ways that you've got a portion of your list that wants to see a specific type of product, and you've got a portion of your list that has other objectives and are looking for different things. So what you would want to do is you want to actually ask the questions to your buyers of what their objectives are. Now, of course, if you're meeting somebody or you're talking to people that came to you from a lead source like a 1031 exchange, or you're talking to somebody that came from a lead source like a family office, well, of course, they're going to have different objectives, and you can bifurcate your list in a way where you have those buyers pulled so that you can create a deal text communication that allows you to share with people what their potential tax savings are, right? For instance, I just, had that, the cost segregation study done on the Airbnb that was, down the street from my home, right? Yeah. And that cost seg study cost me $1,600 to complete. And its total tax savings that I got was around $75,000, right? Overall.
Yep.
Now, $1,600 to save 75 grand.
Is that accelerated depreciation?
Accelerated depreciation, right?
Did the same thing.
So to save that money was phenomenal for me, right? Again, that property doesn't cash flow significantly well for me. It's kind of, it's like, not doing great, not doing terrible, but it at least covers its nut. At the end of the day, the savings and taxes that I got from owning that property was the key, right? So if somebody was going to send me that property for me to purchase, I would want them to tell me, okay, look, this is what the purchase price is. This is what your maintenance situation should look like. If you can rent it for this much, your payment's going to be this much. So you should be breaking even. But the real gold in this deal is that with accelerated depreciation, you could have a savings of up to $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 on your taxes. That would be a communication that I'd be very interested in seeing, right? Just like the syndication that I invested in a couple of years ago, which has now gone to crap. When I got into that syndication, they marketed to me on the tax savings. They didn't market to me based on cash flow.
Right.
They didn't market to me based off of what they thought the projections were going to be in a couple of years after an exit. They marketed to me based on the loss that I was going to get on my K1, which was how much money am I going to save on my taxes when I buy or invest in this deal? You have to curate your messaging for the audience that you're.
Can I show you what that? I'll show you an email I got just similar to that, so people can see that what you're saying. There's this magical thing that when you can connect your mind to this thing that's really happening that Jamil just said, and you can see that these emails are actually happening, your mind will open up. Check this out. These are the emails that you get when you have wealth advisors. Pace, by the way, this is December 6th, guys. This is like 6-7 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Just want to throw these out to you. If you're still hoping to reduce your taxable income to zero this year, I found a couple potential deals that you can allocate cash to that will give you a 2x for the year. 1 depreciation on every dollar invested. Is there any word in here about cash flow?
Nope.
Okay, it's an A-class property. I could click on it, but I don't give the address away. 327 unit multifamily opportunity, San Antonio, Texas. 100% property tax exemption. That's opportunity zone. 200% bonus depreciation in year 1. I would like to push you to get you on as the GP side if interested. Okay. Now, this is what Jamil's talking about. We are being communicated. You guys do not understand. You have to understand people that are smart do not pay taxes. I'm sorry. But if you're out there paying taxes, it means you're not buying enough real estate. That's all there is to it. And so people go, oh, so you're spending a lot of cash into real estate. Yeah. Because at some point you make over $500,000 a year, 47% of your money or more. If you're in New York, it's 53% will go to the federal and state tax level. F that. Nobody's taking 47% of my hard-earned money. I would rather deploy that into property. Yes, my properties, 100% of them cash flow. I do not buy non-cash flowing deals. I'll buy some break-even deals for a year or two. I'll raise the rents, but none of my properties hemorrhage. Okay, first and foremost. But you need to understand that there are not thousands, but there are millions of landlords that will buy for solely the tax purposes. And when you understand this fact, it is not hearsay. What you will do very quickly right now, do it right effing now. And you better have a relationship to a family office in your life, because these are the people that will change your access to real wealth. At some point, you start making more than $50,000, $100,000 a month. You can't manage your own money. Somebody else smarter than you needs to manage your money. So you go to a family office. I have a fractional family office. The name of the company is Do Wealth.
Same with me.
Go to dowealth.com, They're amazing. They charge me 10 grand a month. Is that a lot of money? Yeah. But they have a full team of 14 people that manage my money and advise on my money for 10 grand a month. They save me millions of dollars and they interface me with investments. So that is typically what a family office will do. They'll manage your money. And then in order to mitigate or help you on your taxes, they will go to outside investments and go, hey, we found something that you could buy that will save you money on your taxes. They are paid to do this, guys, paid to do this. What would I do right now? Pull out your phones, Android, iPhones, does not matter. They all have the internet. I think Androids have the internet. I think Androids have the internet. You might have to crank the handle on side really fast.
I think you have to plug it into the wall though.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't think they have Wi-Fi.
So what you need to do is go and Google family office and then the city you live in. And I can tell you there is a family office. What is a family office? A family office is a group of very smart people that create a company that manage families' monies. The company I'm with, are you with Do Wealth?
I am for years.
Okay, cool. So you've been with Do Wealth. Awesome. I didn't know that. That's great.
Yeah.
Why weren't you at the Christmas party?
When was it? It was during the week, right?
It was during the week.
Yeah.
It was we only stayed for an hour, but I didn't know you were there. There's 180 clients there at that one family office. 180 clients. 180 of those guys. DCP1 says, man, we don't make that much money yet. You're not paying attention to me. I'm not saying go hire a family office. The family office will send your deals to people who don't give a shit about cash flow. They don't care. They want to save money on taxes, and the family office will interface them, pitch those deals on your behalf, and the family office doesn't make any money. All they're doing is they're being paid by the customer to help them save on taxes. Your deals, your wholesale deals, your sub 2, your seller finance deals. Google family office and my city. I'm not telling you to hire a family office. Go to them and thank me later. Send them an email and say, hey, I have sub 2 deals. I have seller finance deals. Can I send these to your clients? And by my calculation, they can save this much money. I just gave you probably the most important thing you'll learn on this live today is that one piece of information.
So if the payment is higher pace, do you have to get a lower down payment?
Yes, it's like a teeter-totter.
Okay, good. I think that's important to let everybody understand, because there has to be some juice to the deal, right? There has to be something that they can't just buy on the open market.
No, it's got to be juice in the caboose. You know what
I'm saying? Guys,
my favorite kind of juice.
Nick Rust. I'm sorry. Nick Rust. My family office has 14 people advising me. They have hundreds of employees, my friend. Hundreds of employees. People like me would not go and work with 180 clients. I have almost a dedicated guy just dedicated to me. His name is Ryan Cox. He's amazing. Sub 2 community has talked to him a handful of times. He's come into Zooms and talked about what the wealthy do. People that are worth $100 million or more. What are they actually doing? You guys, the problem is you don't know what's happening at a higher level. And so you are focusing on the fix and flipper that is doing all the work himself. That is your buyer pool. And you're sitting there going, man, I got to buy really deep deals all the time. How about you just buy deals that your family office can interface? They don't care if they pay full retail. It's the same thing with these hedge funds. They're buying for tax purposes and future wealth. Intelligent people, okay? Intelligent people are not buying for cash flow. Now, are we breaking even or making money? Yeah, I just closed on an RV park that's netting on day one, $11,000 a month on one RV park. I'm into that deal less than 5% down on a $5 million deal. 5% down on a $5 million deal, making $11,000 a month net. Do I have cash flowing assets? Yes. I couldn't care any less about the $11,000. I care about the $5 million tax write-off that I got that saved me $1 million in actual taxes.
What does that work out to, Pace? Just so people can get perspective. You buy a property for $5 million, right? You use accelerated depreciation with the new step down tax, tax advantage. What does that save you in taxes so people can understand?
Let me show you a deal that we just closed on a couple of months ago. It's a 160 unit multifamily deal. Let me kind of break it down for you guys on the whiteboard for you. Okay. So I just bought a $16 million deal. This is a big deal, and I'll even do a smaller deal. What I'll do is I will get about 40% of that number through a cost segregation. If you guys don't know what cost segregation is, I'll give you the company I use. They charge $980. Okay. I ordered 120 cost segs this year, not at $980. So $980, they will help me get 40% of this as a write-off, basically through the cost segregation. So let's multiply that by 40%. What is that? $16 million times 40%.
Want me to do the math?
Yeah, I got my calculator. 16 million.
6.5.
Yeah, 6.4 million.
0.4. So $6.4 million. What that means is that this year, because you can only get 80%.
Yep.
I'm going to multiply that by 8. I will get $5,120,000 off of my. That means I can go make $5 million in my other businesses tax-free.
Well, talk about how it reduces your basis.
Yeah. So here's what ends up happening. My tax bracket is 47%.
Yep.
So what that actually means is that here's what this means. Okay. If Pace Morby has 2 businesses.
You forgot a third leg.
That is the third leg.
Oh, okay. There you go. Good.
Is that good?
Just make sure you're properly represented. That's
okay.
all, bro.
Perfect. So I've got my wholesale business, right here. And I've got my buy and hold business right here. Cool. So my buy and hold business and my wholesale business, they're running in 2 different LLCs. You don't run them in the same LLC. Okay. If you are in my community, okay. Kevin Wynn says, I need this cost seg company pays. I paid $3,000. Guys, I only give that cost seg company to the sub 2 community. It's $980. It will save you 80% on your cost segs. I will give it only to the sub 2 community. So if I make, let's say, is it possible, Brent, that I could make, $1 million in a wholesale business?
Yep.
Okay. So let's just say I make $1 million in my wholesale business. Okay. That's my income. That's my taxable income after all my expenses, all my everything. Well, that sucks because at $1 million, I really am only going to take home about $530,000. That means from January to June, I worked for Uncle Sam. I didn't make $1 million. I earned $470,000 for Uncle Sam, and Pace kept $530,000.
Imagine if you have a mortgage and car payments.
Crazy. Okay.
It's January through October. The average American pays interest on their debts and income tax.
Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this and I'm going to say, I need to buy enough real estate in my buy and hold business. This is why creative finance is so powerful, because I can go and buy deals at 8% of the purchase price rather than with the shitty BRRRR strategy, which is like 35% is what it costs to get a BRRRR deal. I can go and buy a lot of real estate, put in my portfolio using creative finance to wipe that full $1 million out. So here's how that's going to work. Okay. If I buy, let's see, what would that be? If that gave me a $5 million write-off, I need 1/5 of that. So let's see, 16,000.
You're probably not buying 16 million with $1 million income though.
Okay. Yeah. I don't need 16 million. I need $3.2 million in income. I'm sorry. I need $3.2 million in real estate. $3.2 million in real estate. My average using creative finance is 8% is what it costs me to get into these deals. Okay. So if I go buy $3.2 million in real estate, which is in some ways, that's what I do in a week. I can buy $3.2 million in a week. How many people in the side comments have done a deal with me in the last couple of months? Sometimes I buy $1 million, $3 million, $4 million a week in real estate. So that means in a year, instead of me giving Uncle Sam how much did Uncle Sam get out of this? He got $470,000 effing dollars. And what did I get out of this $470,000 besides a bill that I had to pay? Nothing. I got jack shit. So what do? I come over here and I go, you know what? Instead of me giving the 470 there, I'm going to put what's 8% of 320? Or I'm sorry, what's 8% of $3.2 million?
280, 300, somewhere around there.
$256,000. So here's how this works, my friends. Check this out. Y'all are going and paying the IRS $470,000 when all I had to do was take out of my million, take 256, buy $3.2 million in seller finance or sub 2 deals. That's the number. My average is 8%. Do I buy some at 12%? Yes. Do I buy some at 0%? Yes, I do. I just made a whole video about 17 deals this year. I put 0 down and I only paid closing costs. 17 deals this year. It happens monthly. Okay. So what does that mean? That 256 allows me to buy $3.2 million in real estate, which wipes out my full tax, all my taxes. Gone. Done. Which then allows me to keep an additional $214,000 in cash in my pocket. So not only did I buy and keep $3.2 million in cash flowing real estate with an average of 3% interest rate, that's what we're getting. I got to keep $214,000 in my pocket. And now, if the law of averages works, every 15 years, real estate doubles. Guess what I just did? I know that in 15 years, that $3.2 million by law of average will be worth $6.4 million. So I have $6.4 million in my portfolio in 15 years with a net worth of probably somewhere around $4 million because I chose not to pay the IRS. That is why buyers don't care about cash flows, because we understand tax implications. So when you guys are sitting there worried about, oh my gosh, my buyer's not going to cash flow, real players don't give a shit about cash flow. Yes, they want to break even, but I can tell you a lot of the big players that are making a couple $1 million, guys, there's a lot of doctors that are making $2-3 million a year that are sitting there saying, I just paid $1.3 million in taxes to the IRS. I would much rather have bought real estate that breaks even after management and held on to it for 3 years, raise the rents, start cash flowing. Okay. So know your buyer. Go reach out to, watch how easy this is. Let's figure this out. Let's do a little.
It's really important that you mentioned there, Pace, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years. This is a long-term strategy. All right. Because you have to keep it for a certain amount of time. Because if you get the accelerated depreciation and you sell it, you have to pay that back. So what people do is they buy it and they keep it forever.
Yeah. And what are you doing every 5 to 7 years is you're doing one of two things.
Pulling that money out, baby.
Yes. There's 2 challenges with this. Like Brent said, it has to be a long-term game, guys. It's just like getting married. It's just like having kids. Welcome to real life. It's a commitment. Okay. You make a commitment. It's a long-term thing. So you have kids, you're not getting rid of those kids, guys. These real estate is like kids. I'm telling you, it's not for the faint of heart. Holding real estate is not for the faint of heart, but the rewards are there. And thank God it's hard. Thank God it's hard, because it teaches you so many things. If it was easy, it wouldn't teach me anything. It wouldn't stretch me. It wouldn't challenge me. I wouldn't learn anything new. Okay. I don't want to just learn one thing the rest of my life. I want to learn every day. I'm addicted to learning. Right. So I'm glad it's hard, but there's 2 big things that are challenging about it. Number one, I can't just sell that real estate when it has a gain. I make money 2 ways in real estate, really long-term. I refinance when the rates are low. I suck that money out. Now, where do I put that money? Some people go buy more real estate. No, go and lend that money out at 12, 14, 16%. Now you got real passive income. So when people say there's no such thing as passive income, that's bullshit. I know Jamil makes 10% passive on his money. I know this guy Jamil, do you have to make do anything for that 10% you make on your money?
No.
Okay. So there is such thing as passive income. People can kiss my ass. There is such thing as passive income. Then the other thing is the second thing you do.
Not only passive, but it's very secure if you get with the right funds. So It's like one of the best situations I could possibly be.
You mean be in the bank?
Yeah.
Now here's the thing too. Okay. The other thing is, highly intelligent buyers, what they end up doing is they buy a lot of single family to get started. And when that real estate matures, they then sell that real estate and 1031 into larger assets. Why? The IRS forces you to go into larger assets when you 1031 your money. So when you kick your profit down the road, you 1031 all your money into a deal. So let me kind of give you a little illustration of how this works so you guys understand.
Greenhouse is red hotel, brother.
That's the thing.
Since we were kids.
People need to understand this is that there's buyers out there that are doing this, guys. If they buy 10 single family homes, right? Let's say 10 of these, and over 5 years, it goes up basically $1 million in value. They don't refinance that. Do you know why they don't refinance that? Because if they refinance that, what ends up happening is they pay fees to the broker, or I'm sorry, to the freaking lender. They then still have to have some equity in there to make the lender feel comfortable. So they're not going to pull out $1 million. They're going to pull out like $500,000 out of their million. So what they're really doing is they're going to sell these assets. And what they do is they take the full million, not $500,000. They take the full $1 million and they roll that into a much larger, maybe like a 24 unit multifamily. Okay. Now with large multifamily, these bigger assets, there's all sorts of magical things that you can do with these where you can leverage against them and get your full $1 million out. I won't go into that today, but that's the power of real estate is you're playing a game where you never have to pay taxes again. Now, I'm one of very few people. I think next year I probably will end up paying taxes, but I'm one of very few people I know that have had zero taxes in 2021, zero in 2022, and zero in 2023. Okay. Most people will pay some taxes. Okay. But I'm telling you, when people start making over $500,000 a year, their number one thing is no longer how do I make more money? Their number one thing becomes how do I keep the money I already slaved my ass off for? And if you want to go sell to those buyers and you want to find them, it's very simple. TTP, talk to people. Go on Google, type in family office and your city. In fact, we should do it right now. Check it out. Let's do it. Let's do a little screen share and see if we can find a couple of family offices in Arizona in like 13 seconds. Okay. That's my sub 2 Facebook group. Let's just go to Google and go family office, Arizona. Ooh, oh my gosh. Okay. So you're telling me there's a family office database. Okay. 390,000 investor profiles, access of list of investors, Wharton's family office report. Awesome. Heritage family offices. Look at all these guys. Look at all these family offices. Let's go to Google Maps and let's see if there's any companies on Google Maps. Ooh. Do you think there's some family offices in Arizona that I could sell my deals to that don't give a crap about cash flow? Yes, absolutely. Upgrade your upgrade your buyer's list and you will stop worrying about cash flowing deals. It'll obliterate it. Now, here's the challenge with that. Brent's structure is way better to start out with because what you don't want to do is rely on the hedge funds. You don't want to rely on these wealthy people because what if they say no to your deal? Now you got a bad deal. I would structure the deal the best I possibly could, knowing that I could go find a buyer that I know is going to cash flow. And then I'm going to start with the family office first. And I'm going to have them tell me no. You want to know why? Because they'll pay a way higher assignment fee in fact, what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to bring in Ryan Cox into the sub 2 community next week, and I'll have him break down how much some of his clients are making, or how much they make and how much they pay in taxes, and how he would love people to just submit deals to them. Your eyes will be open to this. But what Brent said is 100% true. Structure a deal for it to cash flow and then go to your buyer that's going to pay the most money, which is going to be a family office, and then go down to the little piddly guy. Okay. If you're trying to make money.
Yeah, it's just the response rate, right? How quickly will the family respond? Are they looking for bigger projects versus smaller projects? Are they looking for 10 houses instead of just one house for a specific client? So those are conversations that you have to have. But I watched this awesome video, Jamil, and it said, poor people make money to pay bills. Middle class people make money so that they have good credit scores to be able to get loans for stuff that they can't buy cash. Wealthy people make money to make more money. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like they're taking their earned income and they're putting it into assets. You know what I mean? And then they live humbly for a while until those assets are returning more passive to be able to really increase their lifestyle. So it's not going out and balling out with your first 50K assignment fee check. You know what I mean? Don't stay in that middle class mindset of, oh, I got to have this great credit score so that I can get a bunch of loans so that I can afford things that I can't afford on my own. And I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting and an easy way to kind of, in my mind, to be able to put that. Let me know in the comments section if that sounds.
Do you guys know
Myron Golden? That's exactly who it was.
Okay, can I tell you something?
Exactly Myron Golden. Yes.
Pay attention to this because I got a YouTube video coming out in 2 weeks, guys. Pay attention to this. Myron Golden sees me on Instagram. He DMs me directly. He says, "This is the most insane thing ever. You have the best strategy I've ever seen for saving money on taxes." He didn't say buying real estate.
Right.
He didn't say cash flow. He said saving money on taxes. What does Myron Golden do? He joins Sub 2, 12 hours. He comes into a family night Zoom. My Zooms are called family night. I don't call them Q&A. We call them family night. So he comes into Sub 2 family night. He buys a deal live in the chat with one of the community members, and he saves $40,000 on his taxes, 4 times the cost of being into the Sub 2 community in 12 hours. Myron Golden. And he sends me a message and he says,
he's phenomenal.
He says, I want you and Jamil to come out to my house in Tampa. Come spend 2 or 3 days with me. I want to teach you guys everything I'm doing. That you just saved me 40 grand in 12 hours. You'll save me 40 grand a week for the rest of my life as far as I'm concerned. It's a deal in Oklahoma. It makes $100 a month in cash flow after management. And he's like, I don't care about $100. I saved $40,000 in real taxes on one deal. I'll let that sit. I'll let that property sit for 2 years for all I care. I'll still save money on taxes. So that's Myron Golden.
Yeah.
You got people joining Sub 2 just because they're like, I'm going to buy cash flowing. I'm going to buy deals just because I can save money on taxes. So guys, it is massively important for you to understand there are people that are trying to buy deals from you, not to make money this year or next year. Think about all the big commercial projects, right? Jamil's wholesaled land, Brent's wholesaled land. They're not trying to make money this year.
No, they're 5-year projects, right?
5-year projects. So rich people aren't trying to pay their bills next month. They're not. So stop thinking single family buyers are trying to pay their bills next month. Their primary objective is saving money on taxes. Same thing with people that are developing. They're like, my primary objective is not paying my bills today. It's making a big score of $5 million or $10 million all at one time. And that pays for all my bills for the last 3 or 4 years, right? And they stagger their projects. It's a different mechanism. I don't know that world as well as I know the other worlds, but you look at developers that Jamil and Brent wholesale deals to, those guys are not trying to make money today.
No, but Pace, even if we want to, scratch the itch of money today, right? Let's take, for example, a deal I just completed right now in Maryville, right? Completely overpaid for the wholesale deal. I actually bought it so that I could have a case study on what I would do with a deal that was a little bit overpriced, but in a well-positioned in an area where co-living would work. And so I overpay for this property, probably about $50,000 more than I should have paid if I was going to buy a wholesale deal, right? So it's a cash deal. I overpay for it knowingly, right? With the intention that I was going to try a new strategy. So thankful to you, Pace. You introduced me to the people at Pad Split. Phenomenal relationship. I end up getting that deal, renovating the property, creating exactly what Pad Split wanted in there. I now am making a 16% cash on cash return. Even in today's interest rate climate, I'm making a 16% cash on cash return annualized. In addition to that property is going to save me $60,000 in taxes. So it's not just the tax savings. If you are stuck and feeling like you still need to create cash flow, you can create performers for this. For instance, somebody could take that same deal that I had, look at it, get a hold of Pad Split, find out what the average vacancy rate is for that specific area. They'll tell you, and they'll tell you it's 70%. You got 70% or 85% occupancy, whatever it is. They'll tell you what that is, and they'll tell you what that amount of money is that you'll be getting per month out of that property. They'll even tell you what their lease will be with you on a month-to-month basis. You then can take that number. You can look at what the cash-on-cash return is going to be. You can then do the calculations that Pace just showed us, and then show what the depreciation savings are going to be. And you can package a single-family house to a buyer that says, look, here's a 15 or 16% cash-on-cash return with an additional 60% tax savings. You would be completely asinine not to buy this overpriced wholesale deal. Right? So it's literally learning about how to pivot the conversation and to curate the conversation so that you can show people what the benefits are going to be given the new creative types of strategies that you can use by coupling that in addition to the tax savings. So there's just so much opportunity in that, regardless of cash flow, no cash flow, whatever that is, you can still, and I would say for you, Pace too, even that deal that individual Myron's only going to make $100 a month on. Perhaps he pivots and doesn't do a long-term rental on there. Maybe he does a co-living situation over there.
Yeah.
Maybe now he's making 10% cash-on-cash return plus saving $60,000 in taxes. And so you can get creative. You can get very resourceful on how you market these deals by doing a little bit of research, making sure that you're talking to Pad Split or other co-living property management
Family
companies.
Promise is probably one of the best
Family
ones.
Promise is another one. That you've created a beautiful relationship with as well. They need homes for their families right now that are experiencing homelessness and are like really needing low income opportunities for themselves to be able to live. And you can create these partnerships and these opportunities for you to make a funnel where you can bring these properties to the table, cash flow them with a significant return on cash, and still get your depreciation on top of that. So there's just so much opportunity, man. It's just really about how much time and effort are you going to put into creating the appropriate package for your buyer?
Yeah. And if you really think about it, you don't have to be me, guys. 5 years ago, I was broke, right? 5 years ago, I was broke. I shouldn't say I was broke. Somebody stole all my money 5 years ago. I had to start from scratch, but I didn't start from scratch. I had the understanding of finding real estate deals, which was like the greatest power of all time. You could steal it all from me. I'll build it right back. That's the cool thing about it. But in my first year, I knew immediately, I was like, I have to pay as little money as taxes I possibly can this year, because that money, instead of going to the IRS, which they will mismanage, and they'll take our money and send it to Ukraine, whatever you believe there, whether you like that money going there or not, doesn't matter. It ain't going to build my team. It's not going to build my employees. I wake up in the morning and my employees pray that I'm going to make good decisions on their behalf. I'm not sending that money to anywhere. Ecuador, freaking Ukraine, Russia, China, I'm not sending that anywhere. I'm keeping that internal. I want to keep that money. The IRS will reward you and say, you can keep your money because you know how to manage it better, because you obviously buy real estate. That's why this works. The IRS rewards you. In my first year, I still paid taxes. Okay. Second year, paid taxes. But going forward from 21 to 22 to 23, my funnel was built big enough that I could buy enough real estate to offset all my taxes. I just took the money I saved on taxes and I didn't live on it. I just reinvested and I put it back into other things. So instead of giving your money to the IRS, let's say you make $200,000 a year. If you're making $200,000 a year, you're probably paying the IRS about 40 grand. Guys, you can do one sub-2 deal with that $40,000 and wipe out all your income, all of it. Okay. So instead, you don't have to buy hundreds of millions of dollars of real estate. Take the money that you're paying to the freaking awful IRS and put it into real estate and let it sit for 2 or 3 years. And guess what happens? You wake up and it's like an orange tree. You plant the seed, it takes a couple of years to germinate, and all of a sudden that thing starts producing fruit, and people go, man, gosh damn, you're lucky you inherited this orange tree. If I was lucky like Pace that just inherited all these orange trees that are producing, guys, I had to plant all these seeds. Gosh damn it. All of them. I had to plant them all. I had to take them from the IRS and plant them myself and wait and cultivate and wait and cultivate. And all of a sudden they start producing. Then instead of taking those oranges and selling all of them, I took the seeds from those oranges and planted more. Now I got an orchard. And that's the goal of this. Okay. So I didn't start with a bundle of money. Somebody stole all my money 65 months ago. I had nothing. Some people in here, like, I don't know I'm going to pay my bills in 2 weeks. Guys, wholesaling real estate is the greatest way to get started in anything to make money. You can have a check in your hand. In fact, if you bring me a deal, I will do stupid shit. If you bring me a deal, I'll pay you half your assignment fee before I even close escrow on that bad boy if you desperately need it. I don't care. I'm not belligerent about money, and I'm not an idiot, but I will invest in you. And if you have a good deal here in Arizona, I will pay half your assignment fee up front. Once we get the title report and I know the house has a good, clean title, I will give you half your assignment fee, and then I'll give you the half when we actually close escrow. You can get paid within 36 hours of getting a deal. Paid, cash in your pocket. And if the deal falls apart, I'll go keep it. I did this with a gentleman named Eric Cabada. He comes to me, he goes, Pace, I've been trying to wholesale for a couple of years, and I think I'm going to go back to getting a job. And I said, Eric, give me 1 more week, man. Give me 1 more week. Don't quit on me. He goes, I can't close a deal and get it funded in a week. I got bills to pay. And I go, if you get me a deal this week, I'll pay you half your assignment fee up front. He says, are you kidding me? I go, no, go get a deal. Bring it to me. Close that. We clear title. I'll pay you $5,000 of your assignment fee right up front. Guys, there's buyers that will do that stuff for you. Big buyers will invest in you as a wholesaler. And
one of my first deals in Arizona was like that. I needed that money to pay for a
18 grand was your
Natalie.
First deal, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, my first deal here in AZ, not in Canada, but my first deal here in AZ, it was when Natalie had got a superbug, and we needed $6,000 to pay for her prescription. I didn't have the money, and it was Chris Hyman that I worked the deal with. I hadn't known him quite yet. It was a cold outreach on Facebook. I found a deal in Scottsdale on market. I locked it up at a good price. I sent it to Chris with a $10,000 assignment fee. And I asked him, once he said he'd committed to taking the deal, if he would be willing to, instead of taking the 10 grand, if he would pay me 6 up front, because I needed to buy her prescription that week. Otherwise she was going to pass away. And literally was able to make that $6,000 in a matter of 2 days so that I could go and actually pay for that prescription that she desperately needed at the time. And it was a game changer for me, right? Like, so people will negotiate with you. They'll help you out. If you are earnest, if you are transparent, if you are vulnerable and you just show people what you're doing and what's going on and why you need what you need, people, especially really legitimate buyers, they're willing to take a risk on you. They're willing to take a risk on you because they want to preserve a relationship or create or maintain a relationship with you that's going to be profitable and fruitful in the future, because you are proving to them that you're somebody who understands the game and you understand how to create value for them and their business.
Okay, here's a good question. I wonder why you're having a hard time selling a deal for 4 months. I would probably change the word deal, because a deal means something that somebody would buy.
Yeah.
Jamil taught me something a long time ago. There's only 2 reasons why a deal does not sell. Number 1, you don't have enough eyeballs on it. And number 2, you didn't buy it right. So Jamil, what are your thoughts on this?
So a Facebook user says, Pace Jordan Morby, I feel stuck with my first deal in real estate in Killeen, Texas, and I've been looking for a buyer for 4 months. So Mr. User, I would absolutely tell you that is not a deal. You have what is called a contract, and that contract is likely overpriced because people are looking at it and they're not finding the value. They're not seeing what you brought to the table. My suggestion to you is to cut bait, cancel that deal, and learn how to learn how to value property correctly so that you can lock up stuff at a price that somebody's going to be enticed to want to purchase it at. Also know that Killeen, Texas isn't one of the most robust markets in Texas, right? We're talking about a more rural area where there's fewer buyers, fewer activity. There's just less opportunity for you to connect the dots out there. My suggestion for you would be to pivot your marketing efforts into a market in Texas that has more activity. Look at the major cities. Stop buying into the narrative that you need to be where there's no one else so you can, stay away from competitors. That is not the way it goes. The people who are telling you that have a reason for telling you that. They probably have some service or something that they want to sell you. At the end of the day, bro, you want to play where there's traffic. Why do you play in traffic? So that you can get hit. Okay. Every time I'm looking at a real estate market to enter into, I'm looking for traffic. I'm looking for activity. I'm looking for buyers. I want there to be competition. I want there to be people out there clamoring over deals. I don't want to be in a place where there's people not doing any business. I don't want to be in a place where I'm sitting on a contract for 4 months and I haven't talked to enough people, or I haven't got a deal that's good enough yet to at least have been told you're out of your flipping mind, right? So if you've been doing this for 4 months, somebody must have either said to you, bro, this isn't a deal. This is like overpriced. Or you didn't get enough eyeballs on it and you don't know if it's overpriced or not. So there's a couple of ways that you can get out of this, right? First, learn how to value. Second, build a buyer's list. Third, work in markets where there's actually people doing business.
And squat up with somebody that's experienced in Killeen, Texas.
We got a bunch of them right here. Look, Kenley is amazing. He got actually, I've never seen a bigger assignment fee in my life. He made $600,000 on it. Have you seen a bigger assignment fee than that?
No, I've never done one that big.
600,000. He beat mine by 4x. Kenley did. Amazing leader, mastermind student.
My biggest one is $276,000. That's my biggest assignment fee.
So Kenley's in Texas, does a lot of creative finance deals, also does a lot of cash deals. He's a great person for you to reach out to. Guys, in the comments are some of our great leaders in all of our collective communities. TTP, Astro, Sub2, Gator. Okay, look at this. Peter Garraway just committed, and Peter's awesome too. Kenley's the man, partnered with him and would do it again. Guys, take the time to network in the side chat. That's what we're talking about with squatting up.
Yeah, baby.
Well, and find out what that deal would sell for. Listen, the deal will sell if you get it at the right price. That's it. So squat up with somebody that has some experience and ask them, what would this deal sell for? And then either renegotiate with the seller or get them out of the contract. You've tied them up for 120 days. Like I don't want to tie up somebody for 120 hours without knowing. Like,
that's not what your wife said.
Well,
Yeah, we've heard, bro.
She's nasty.
We heard what you gave her for Christmas.
Oh my goodness. How much was that prescription, by the way? Anyways,
more than $6,000.
No. Moving on. Really quickly before, because I know we got a minute before this episode ends. You guys know that I'm, a little woo-woo, right? Like I'm a meditator. I definitely
you're part of the woo-woo tang.
Yeah, I'm part of the woo-woo tang, right? Well, in my pursuits and in the people that I get to meet some incredible human beings that are very intuitive, very, very special when it comes to their certain set of gifts that they can bring to the table when it comes to being able to connect and understand people's energy and who people are. Well, last week I had the privilege of meeting a very gifted channel or psychic that in Western words. So I'm going to start a live stream with this individual where every other week I'm going to, in the evening, on a Thursday evening, we're going to do Ask a Psychic.
Awesome.
And you can come onto my YouTube channel and you can try to stump this woman. You can say whatever you want. You can ask her all the questions. Ask her about real estate. Ask her about your relationships. Ask her about your dong, whatever it is that you're questioning about what you have some questions on with respect to your life. I want to see how many people would be interested in having a conversation with a very gifted psychic to see if they can give them some insight into what's happening in their life or what maybe they should be doing to help themselves, get more success and find more happiness in their life. So if you guys have a desire to watch and be involved in a very entertaining live stream that I plan to start next week, do me a favor and come check out my YouTube channel. I'll be doing it every other Thursday night at 5 p.m. And everybody's invited. Come on, ask a psychic a question. Let's see if we can stump her.
It'd be fun.
Love it. Brent, what do you got going on, brother?
I've got a live show on Wednesday. We're going to talk about virtual wholesaling. I've got some incredible guests coming on, and I'm also going to talk about the 50 top wholesaling markets that we have pulled from Zillow based on their appreciation and cash buyer activity, which is going to be absolutely bananas. We've got people coming in from Israel, people coming in from Belgium, and then Rafael Cortez, our incredible friend, talking about virtual wholesaling. So do not miss that. That's Friday. That's Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time. Jamil, I know what you're doing tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm having a birthday tomorrow, so I'm going to be spending some time with my family and friends. I'd love to hang out with you guys. If you guys got nothing going on in the evening, you guys can join us for supper. But turning 45 years old tomorrow, and I couldn't be happier to be alive. I couldn't be happier to have you as friends, and I couldn't be happier to have the almost 600 people that are joining us live tonight be in my world, so that I've been able to enjoy just an incredible journey, and you guys all make it possible. So thank you guys so much for the love. Thank you guys so much for the time, and thank you so much for your journeys, because your journeys are becoming ours. Keep killing it.
The big B says, "Wow, I thought you guys were like 32." No, that's Brent's average assignment fee, $32,000.
Well, that's the size of his guns.
Yeah,
the 32-inch Python.
Do you have 20s?
I don't know. We'll measure them on our 200th episode.
Please measure them.
200th episode.
That's next week.
Next week.
Can we please measure your guns for next week's episode?
Deal.
Okay, love it. Guys, I have nothing going on this week except for the 12 days of Christmas in my free Facebook group. We're giving away like $2,000 a day. I gave away an iPhone today and $1,000 in cash. No, like nothing to sell, just hanging out, loving on people, an hour a day. I've got 12 of my leaders in my community talking about a specific topic. Tomorrow is Tanisha Epps. Then we've got Landon Moore and a bunch of other people coming up. That goes on for 12 straight days. We're going to be giving a bunch of money away. I think it's like $20,000 or something. So guys, we love you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you next week on episode 200.
Hey.
Later.
Or just say squat up.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
What are you doing?
I didn't say nothing.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Cool. I think we should use the one where